This great gathering of people here today reminds me of another great gathering the day my ancestors joined together with the Queen of England representative to sign the Treaty of Algiers. Let us all remember that this treaty was signed so that we can live together as one nation in Aotearoa. The challenge for our nation is the same as the challenge before the athletes of the Commonwealth to strive for success. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
And what a marvellous production that was, here at the opening ceremony of Auckland's Commonwealth Games.
All the various cultural groups are now performing.
And Dick Taylor is carrying the Queen's message as it continues to come closer to that point where it's brought in by the still unnamed mystery star sportsman who will bring it in to Mount Smart Stadium.
All the various ethnic groups that make up New Zealand. We've got Scottish dancers and Morris dancers. Of course, the Morris dancers have made quite a feature of their performances here in New Zealand because on May Day they go up to Mount Eden every year and see in the May dance, and I believe that makes them about 12 years ahead of their English counterparts.
12 hours, I think you mean.
12 hours.
Maybe 12 years.
But carrying on around the arena, there's the Irish, there's the Welsh. And with a slight change of music, more exotic communities from New Zealand. In the arena now, the Chinese community, the Indian community, the Yugoslavs are here, the Austrians. The Italians are joining in. The Polish, the Dutch. Even though we have a very tiny Jewish community here in New Zealand, they're represented here as well. Wonderfully colourful spectacle. And it is the different cultures that give a country colour, and we didn't know we had that many, did we, Keith?
Yes, I guess the people of Dannevirke will be delighted that this little part of the story of New Zealand, Danish community. I must say the shots looking towards the sunset, I hope we see some more, they're absolutely marvellous. They couldn't have picked a better night. Maybe the good people of Island Bay and Wellington will be enjoying this one too. A lot of Italians in that suburb.
And from the Chinese community, the Lucky Dragon. To get the weather right, he must have been dancing over the last couple of days, Keith.
It's a beautiful, still night in Auckland. It's lovely and warm, marvellous.
But now lining up around the arena are pennants and flags for every one of the cultural communities that are dancing here today. Cambodian community here cannot be a large one, but we have them tonight as well. Wonderful that such varied dancers, from the Tamil to the Cambodian to the Scots, are all managing to dance to the same music.
Yes, it is incredible. I assume you sort of what we call ghetto blasters in 1990 out there, so they're all dancing to their own little scene out there. And in the background, the tall building you see just over the back of the stand is the Games headquarters, lit up especially tonight with the Games symbol on top.
And the dancers from the Israeli community. Well, they might all be dancing to different drummers, but they're very well coordinated. But there's a sound that's going to introduce even more members of our cultural community, the Pacific Islanders. And what better to come into the studio than the thrilling dancers of the Cook Islands. What a sound. Get anyone's blood pounding, Keith. Following the dancers from the Cook Islands are all the other Pacific Island communities in Auckland.
This telecast going live to Niue. I'm sure they'll enjoy seeing their fellow countrymen here. And here comes the happy faces of the Fijian people.
And the Samoan team rushing into the stadium. From Tuvalu. And from Tonga. Big cheer going up at home. Sound is tremendous. If this doesn't fire up the athletes, Keith, nothing will.
Yes, indeed, it's echoing right around the stadium. We hope you're enjoying this thrilling depiction of the Polynesians arriving in New Zealand.
a spectacular display, Keith, in all your years of opening ceremonies.
Well, yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. You know,
And
sometimes
now to lead the people of modern New Zealand in song, please welcome Mr. Howard Morrison.
Now here comes a great act from a great New Zealand entertainer.
Let me be born on the full winds. Let my heart know the way to never forget the voice of my land. Oh, one moment of yesterday, and my love, oh my love, it runs deep from within the soul of the land. I'll always remember it's here we belong. Chiamo it runs deep from
Well, no one gets them going in this country quite like Howard Morrison can. as he gets a tumultuous reception from 35,000 fans here in the stadium. More ceremony of the Commonwealth Games. Front of the rostrum where the official oaths will be taken, and then we'll have the entry of the Queen's baton. So the question is just who will bring that message from Her Majesty into this arena. Take your last picks because it's very close now to the stadium. Flag bearers moving around. 55 countries were in the march past.
Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. The BP Commonwealth Games baton, carried by Mark Todd, 2 times equestrian gold medalist, mounted on his champion horse, Charisma.
Well, you've heard the announcement. We wait, and here he comes. Charisma with Mark Todd up. What a wonderful moment for horse and rider and for the sport of equestrian. Double gold medalist at 1984's Games in Los Angeles and the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul.
And what a roar from the crowd, Keith. Is it for Charisma or for Mark?
Yes, indeed. But what a great team they make.
Oh, and Charisma's beautifully dressed.
This is a 16-year-old horse, and it is in the peak of condition here. This is the horse they called down on the farm podge. Very interesting selection, Brendan, because equestrian has never featured at the Commonwealth or Empire Games.
Yes, I imagine that will probably raise a few eyebrows, the fact that, of course, Mark Todd has had no association with the Commonwealth Games, but it really was an inspired and brilliant move. But I wonder whether the surprises are really over yet.
Around past the competitors, Mark Todd looking in to see some old friends among the athletes who went to the Olympic Games with him.
What a remarkable journey this baton has made since it left Buckingham Palace back in October of last year. We estimate it's travelled about 30,000 kilometres via Canada and Australia to New Zealand, and 11,000 kilometres around New Zealand. Of course, it's travelled by jet plane, and today it's travelled by Waka across the Waitemata Harbour, and now by horse. It must be the most diverse journey that a Queen's baton's made in the 60-year history of the Commonwealth Games.
Well, I think you can gauge that it's a better choice. Mark Todd and Charisma. Now, this is interesting, Brendan. He has trotted past the official dais. Now,
I have a feeling the more, shall we say, runner to come.
let's have a look.
Well,
He's trotted right past the grandstand, right past the dais. There it is in the background. Mark Todd, oh, he's going to do a second lap, is he? This is a bit confusing for us.
I think maybe Charisma is enjoying it too much in front of this crowd.
Well, Charisma's just been on a promotional tour of New Zealand.
I wonder if Prince Edward was surprised that he didn't hand it over when he went past the first time.
Right around so everyone can get a look at this great New Zealand sporting team. And look at the reaction from the fans in the sporting team. This, of course, is one of the hardest Olympic events to win, let alone win it twice. It was something over 50 years, 56 years since it had been done before. Now, look at this.
The baton is now being transferred to an athlete famous for many gold medals won in Commonwealth and Olympic Games, New Zealand's own Peter Snell.
Don't forget, in Auckland, that was a roar good enough for Peter Snell. The same as he heard in his great running career in the 1960s. And my word, the years might have passed, but he looks in pretty good shape.
52-year-old Peter Snell, and that also is an inspired choice. I think we'd have to say unanimously probably the greatest sportsman New Zealand has produced in the 20th century, and how fitting and how appropriate that he should carry the baton for its final few metres on a track I suspect he's never run on in his life before.
Well, he set a world record over at Western Springs Stadium. And look at Dr. Peter Snell, resident of Dallas, USA, back in his hometown and getting a hometown welcome. 3 times Olympic gold medalist and twice an Empire Games gold medalist at Perth, 1962. Brendan, he's done a lap of the track, half a lap, he's hardly puffing.
Great moment, but also I suspect a marvellous moment for Arthur Lydiard, who's been very much involved in the activities here today, helping carry the baton himself and marching with the New Zealand team into the stadium this evening.
So Mr. Peter Heatley unscrews the 2 parts of the baton. One went on the journey around the North Island, one went around the south, carried by some 12,000 people, men and women, young kids of all ages. And there is the message from Her Majesty.
Your Royal Highness, I invite you to read the message from Her Majesty the Queen and to open the 14th Commonwealth Games.
This message of greeting to the 14th Commonwealth Games has been brought to Auckland from Buckingham Palace by a relay of hundreds of runners in London, Canada, Australia, and in both the North and South Islands of this country, New Zealand.
The Kiwis are vocal tonight.
The one person from the South Island.
The organisation of a Games with 10 and such events is no easy task, and I would like to thank and congratulate everyone involved for their hard work and preparation over many years in making everything ready for this moment, the official opening of these Games. The Commonwealth Games has a well-deserved reputation for friendliness and good sportsmanship. The gathering of athletes from all parts of the Commonwealth has ensured that in each Games, the village has been a centre of friendship and happiness. I am sure that the people of New Zealand will give a warm welcome to all their visitors, as they did in Auckland in 1950 and in Christchurch in 1974. I much look forward to joining you towards the close of the Games for the culmination of 10 days of fellowship and sport. I now declare the 14th Commonwealth Games open.
And now another marvellous tribute to a sporting team from New Zealand, one of the all-time greats.
The Commonwealth Games Federation flag is now being piped into the stadium and carried by the New Zealand rowing 8, who won a gold medal at the 1972 Munich Olympics.
Here's Tony Hurt. It was the marvellous stroke of that crew. Weibo Velman. This is a who's who of New Zealand sportsmen here tonight. Dick Joyce, of course, was a double Olympic gold medalist as well, winning in 1968 in the fours. And there's Big John Hunter, the man that did all the work in the middle. Big Lindsay Wilson from the Waikato. That was a great crew, this one. Ethel Earl, another huge, big man. Gary Robertson. And the little guy who was the coxswain, also a double gold medalist, Simon Dickey. And if you're wondering about the 9th member, remember 8 members of the rowing 8 plus a coxswain makes 9, but there are only 8 today. The crew sadly lost Trevor Coker, who died at a tragically young age a few years ago. So only 8 of that crew of 9 remain. But what a marvellous tribute to them and the sport of rowing, which of course played a part in the 1950 Empire Games in New Zealand, the events being held down at Lake Karapiro. And I think I remember that the rowing events at the 1950 Games were held in front of the biggest sporting crowd ever in New Zealand. Over 60,000 people crammed the shores of Lake Karapiro for the rowing finals.
Again, though, not a Commonwealth Games team bringing this into the stadium. Again, it's an Olympic team.
Yes, I think it's been a delightful combination of the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic ideals here tonight. We've seen Peter Snell, Charisma, Mark Todd and the rowing 8. It's not just a night of celebrating the Commonwealth Games, but a chance to celebrate many great moments from New Zealand's sporting past.
And a 14-gun salute, symbolising the 14th Commonwealth Games, is sounded as the flag rises.
The flag rises. The rowing 8 of 1972 did a marvellous job, and the action continues live from Auckland.
Tomorrow.
Now, this one is not such a big surprise. Nice mix.
The competitors will now stand
for the
as
taking
Barbara
of the
Moore
oath.
and Graham Robson, representing the New Zealand team, will pronounce the Commonwealth Games oath on behalf of all competitors.
That we will take part in the Commonwealth Games of 1990 in the spirit of true sportsmanship, recognizing the rules which govern them, and desirous of participating in them for the honor of our Commonwealth and for the glory of...
Well said. A good choice there. Man and a woman, Murray and Pakeha, taking the oath on behalf of the athletes of all the Commonwealth.
Entering the stadium now are children from Camp Quality, who represent the thousands of New Zealanders who have accompanied the Commonwealth Games baton as it was carried the length and breadth of the country on its journey to the stadium this evening. The batons they carry aloft represent the pride and spirit of New Zealand.
Yes, if you saw the many photographs and television newsreels of the relay around New Zealand, you would have seen that there were always 3 in the picture. There was the Queen's baton split in 2, one to the north, one to the south, and the baton's pride and spirit which accompanied the Queen's message.
Let the pride and spirit of New Zealand light up the Games.
So all of the 11 or 12,000 people who took part in that marvellous baton run can feel proud. They will represent. Now we look at the game's venues and a look around the city of Auckland, the city of sails.
The brand new Aotea Centre, which will host the weightlifting right in the heart of Auckland City. At Pakuranga, the home for the Bull and Bowls competition for the next 10 days. The Logan Campbell Centre, next to the Epsom Racecourse, venue for the boxing. And just a couple of kilometres away, not far from the Southern Motorway, Badminton Hall. And out into the hills of southern Auckland we go to Mangatawhiri for one of the 2 shooting ranges. The brand new $2 million velodrome at Manukau, facilities built for the Commonwealth Games in 1990. The Town Hall, which will also host the judo. Mount Smart with its $10 million facelift, and with seating capacity now for 35,000 people. And out towards the hills of West Auckland, the $16 million pride, I guess, of the construction program for the Commonwealth Games, the Henderson Aquatic Centre.
In the arena, so appropriate for the city of sails, we're now starting to see a sailing demonstration. We've got land yachts doing formation sailing here inside a stadium.
The voice of Taisha coming around the stadium with the song Breakout as we see a depiction of many of the aspects of the city of sails. But we've got Dr. Peter Snell with Peter Williams.
Thank you, Keith. Dr. Peter Snell, welcome back to New Zealand, welcome back to Auckland. When did Joe McMenamin ask you to run the final leg?
It was about a month ago, Peter, or maybe even a little less than that, maybe 3 weeks ago. He mentioned, he didn't really say what I was doing. He said, I'd like to involve you in this in some way. He wasn't very specific about it at all.
So when did he give you the final instructions as to what you were doing?
Basically, when I arrived, yes.
Tonight?
No, when I arrived in the country a couple of days ago, and that's when he told me what I'd be doing. So I was able to be honest in saying I wasn't bringing it into the stadium.
All right, but yeah, I presume you were absolutely sworn to secrecy. Were you asked about whether or not you were going to do it by various people in the media?
Oh yeah, Paul Holmes just directly said, are you going to do it? And if you could do it, would you? And all this sort of stuff. And I just said, I'm not bringing it into the stadium.
All right.
It's a great honor. I really feel very proud to have done that.
I was going to say, what was it like for you? What did you feel as the crowd rose to you when you were running that final lap?
You know, it was just like a race. I tend to switch off in that situation. I can't hear it when I'm running, and I really was pretty much oblivious to it doing that lap. But I had a sense of it at the beginning, and it felt very great, very good.
Was Mount Smart Stadium constructed as an athletics venue in your days in New Zealand?
No, no. Shortly after retirement, it was here as a cinder track, but no, nothing like this. It's a beautiful facility.
And how long are you staying in Auckland to see Commonwealth Games action? Here the whole time?
Yeah, I'm here the duration. I'll be going back on the 8th of February. Looking forward to it a lot.
It's going to be a great track and field meeting, I believe. It's going to be a great Commonwealth Games, if this is anything to go by.
Oh, I think so. You know, I love these opening ceremonies. The evening is the perfect time. We have to sit out in the heat to watch this as athletes, and I think this is a great way to do it.
Peter Snell, thank you. Great to have you back in New Zealand.
Thanks, Peter. I'm really having fun.
He never told any fibs. He said he wouldn't be bringing them any down here. The music of modern New Zealand ringing around the stadium now with the City of Sails well in evidence. This is Taisha.
Windsurfers in the centre.
and bungee jumpers. They've thought of everything at this opening ceremony.